California Pop, The Evolution of Mid-Century Subcultural Southern California by Dorian McDougall. Chapter 24, California Popped. Section title, We Love Them, Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. It was during those dark days in the aftermath of the Kennedy assassination that we cherished our diversions just a little bit more than usual. And one of our most beloved amusements was a Sunday night variety show broadcast live from New York City. From 1948 to 1971, anybody who was anybody in the world of entertainment performed on The Ed Sullivan Show. And on the evening of February 9th, 1964, among the usual clowns, magicians, acrobats, and stage acts, Mr. Sullivan presented us with a real surprise.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles!
And with those 5 words, the balance of pop cultural power shifted to the Brits, as millions of American teens were captivated by the Mersey beat sound. What the British Empire couldn't do in 2 wars, 4 blokes did in 15 minutes of airtime. They would play 2 concerts and appear an unprecedented 2 more consecutive Sundays on The Sullivan Show before returning home, by which time they had turned the American music industry upside down. Dozens of other English bands, duos, and solo artists followed in the wake of the Beatles, and by the summer of '64, the British sound dominated America's airwaves. Suddenly, every other pop group in the country looked like an oldies act. Many of yesterday's headliners were reduced to lounge act status, while others opted for early retirement. The Southland's exotica and jazz artists were already drifting into studio work, cutting tracks from movies and TV shows, and now America's rock groups were all doing their best to look and sound like the Englanders. Of the Southern California-based pop groups, only the Beach Boys could even halfway weather the storm. They would go on to produce some of the most memorable and best-loved songs of the 1960s, but in the wake of the British invasion, the classic California sound they created would gradually lose its appeal with teen record buyers, radio DJs, and record companies. But of course this sort of adjustment was nothing new. Within the normal ebb and flow of time, things do change. The Southern California of mid-century legend was, for the most part, a construct of a World War II generation that was beginning to settle into a comfortable middle age when their cultural hegemony would naturally begin to fade. But rarely during peacetime would life change as fast and as forcefully as it did in the early 1960s. For the era of the boomer was firmly at hand.